All right, what's going on, Naval S community? Man, I'm pumped to be here. If you don't know this already, I love my job and love what I do. And today we get to talk about Hack the Machine. I'm going to be honest. When I first heard about Hack the Machine, I thought it was like my brain went to like high school days and like trying to break into a vending machine. That's not what this is all about. These fantastic people today are going to kind of explain what Hack the Machine is, what it does for the Navy, the value we're involved in it. We're going to talk about the tracks we have going on this year. But before that, I want you to meet these awesome people I'm with. So we're going to go around the room, and I'm going to start with Miss Candy Carr. Introduce who you are and where you're coming from, and you're up, Candy.
All right. Hi, everybody. I'm super excited to be here today. So I am the NAVSEA Chief Innovation Officer in an acting capacity. I'm also the co-director of the Ventura Tech Bridge, and I'm out here at Point Mugu, California. Over to you, Kade.
Thanks, Candy. My name is Kade Heckel. I'm a second-class midshipman at the United States Naval Academy. I studied computer science and computer engineering, and I'm a member of the US Naval cybersecurity team. So I'm really thankful to be here. I'll hand it off to Zac.
Hey, thanks, Kade. My name is Zac Staples. I'm the CEO of a small business named Fathom 5. And a few years ago, I created Hack the Machine, and I'm just so excited that the community's grown, that Matt is here helping us promote that, and everybody else like Arthur is taking that seed of an idea and growing it as what it is today. So Arthur, to you, man.
Thank you. Lieutenant Commander Arthur Anderson. I work at the NAVSEA headquarters in the technology office, and I'm the action officer this year for Hack the Machine. Working with Zac and his team has been a great pleasure. Really excited about this year's Hack the Machine, and yeah, thank you for the intro.
And that's fantastic. Just some awesome people in the Navy. Zac, you're still in the Navy-ish. We'll keep you around.
I'm perimeter. This here is how people know I'm not actually still in the Navy anymore. This year I'm letting Arthur rock the short haircut, and I get to MC the problem. I was gonna get a mohawk, but apparently Mohawk innovation space is already taken, so I had to.
Hey, we can start a club. I'm down. So I'm really excited to talk kind of what is Hack the Machine. We're going to talk about some of the pieces this year, of course. But before we do that, I want to know where Hack the Machine came from. I'm going to start with Zac. Were you just like in the Navy, like we're going to do this and it's going to make the Navy better? How did this all start?
Oh man, that's a great question. Like most, really good ideas, it was a lot of intentionality and part luck. And I think the luck part was that my last tour on active duty, I ran the Center for Cyber Warfare Research and Development at the Naval Postgraduate School out in Monterey. And we were working a project. We were back on the East Coast. We were, in the basement of a building with no windows, talking about a kind of really spooky thing we were building. And the Navy had recently hired some new folks a couple of years ago, some young people out of a couple of great engineering schools. And this was 2015. The thing everybody in the software engineering community was talking about was Docker and containerization. And one of these young people had graduated from Georgia Tech with a computer science degree and another one from MIT. And I brought up containers, and they just kind of made this face like, what? And I was like, wait, you're like smart, young, a technologist. How do you not know about this? And it occurred to me that, their laser focus on national security problems that they were working on had disconnected them a little bit from all of their peers that they had graduated college with like 2 years before. And so we just kind of had that eureka moment that we need something that gets people from the Navy to just throw on a T-shirt and sit side by side with people in the civilian innovation entrepreneur space and see what magic happens. And so we had a really good kind of brainstorming session with a couple of senior officers, and everybody was like, yeah, we should do that. And I said, okay, cool, let's pay for it. And then it was like, no, we don't do that. Right. And then so in a real coincidence, I was briefing a 4-star, like, I don't know, 3 weeks later, similar situation in a basement about a spooky thing. And he leaned back in his chair and he said, The problem is people just don't have an opportunity to see that all of us who do this work are just, good Americans trying hard and want to make a difference. And if they had an opportunity to do that, we could make faster change together. And so I said, Admiral, forget every slide I was going to brief you on. Let me tell you about this other thing. And he was supportive of it. I went back to kind of the people who could actually fund it, and I pitched the idea again, and they said no again, and I'm persistent, and so I said let's re-baseline this. Let's do this as an experiment, and we'll take some data, and then let's argue about the data. So I said let's run a public-facing Navy digital challenge that isn't made-up problems. It's real Navy problems that have consequence. And I said just for kicks, let's design an experiment in a way that you think it will fail. And then if it doesn't, we'll know we're on to something. So we said, at the time, drones and were a thing that was in the news a lot because of some of what was going on in Pakistan. So I said, let's pick a problem you think that the millennial tech community wouldn't be interested in and do a clearly branded like Navy drone hackathon. Let's do it in a place where the Navy doesn't have a whole lot of overt support anymore, and so we said we're going to do it in downtown San Francisco, and just just for kickers, I think we had a competing event that week. It was Pride Week in downtown San Francisco, the same weekend we ran it, and we ended up having like 250 people come out from all over the tech community, and there was this aha moment that the Navy tech community doesn't have their version of the Blue Angels yet. And we realized, the Navy's been paying millions and millions of dollars to have the Blue Angels who go around the country and they expose people to what we're doing in naval aviation. They inspire young people to someday want to be fighter pilots. And it gives our allies pause that we are really good at this. And we thought we need something along those lines for the tech community. And so that's where Hack the Machine was born from. And it's grown every year. We've run Hack the Machine now in San Francisco, Austin, Boston, New York, and Seattle. This will be the 6th iteration. It'll be virtual, and then we'll figure out where we are next year. But it's just doubled in size every year. We've gotten closer and closer to real problems. So I'll pause, but Arthur can tell you a little bit about the real program executive officers and program managers that are involved in this and some of the real impacts it's having. Because I think, insights without adoption is theater, right? And so part of what we're really trying to do is making sure that we're actually moving from insights to action with what we're doing in Hack the Machine. And that means having real money in the game. And so I think we've got that base covered now too. So that's a little bit on the history and where all we've done it. And I'm just excited to have a broader and broader community engaged.
Oh, that's exciting. That's a great example of what Hack the Machine is for sure. Lieutenant Commander Arthur Anderson, kind of pop over to you. Talk about right now the President of the Navy, you're the Navy lead for this. Why is the Navy so excited about continuing to do this, and who's involved? Oh, you are on mute, sir.
Need to unmute my mic. How many times has that happened during a virtual meeting? So we're really excited. So when I first heard about Hack the Machine, I just shown up to CO5 at the headquarters, and my boss was like, "Hey, you should come to this weekend to this Hack the Machine thing." And I had no idea what it is. I looked up at the website. I was still a little confused, and I showed up, and it was like this amazing thing. It was a big convention center. There was like thousands of people, not thousands, but maybe about 1,000 people talking and walking and solving these problems. And I was amazed by the amount of people and the interest that this kind of generated. As Zac said, like the Blue Angels for the tech community. I get involved with a lot of program offices these days, and we spend a lot of time in the program offices building contracts and writing statements of work. And I really think that maybe we spend a little bit too much time concentrating on those things and not enough time reaching out to the talent and reaching out to the contractors and building those relationships and building that culture in that organization. And one of the things I really like about the thing that Zac and his team has put together with this Hack the Machine event is the ability to kind of reach out to that talent and get people excited about and create those relationships that really help us move forward as the Navy, as we want to move towards our goal. So
that's fantastic. Go ahead, sir. Keep going. Keep going.
Thank you. So one of the other big things that we focus on is we really don't want to make this kind of research and development thing. We really want to make it about real Navy programs, as I think Zac mentioned. So one of the things that we do when we develop the different tracks that people are going to compete in, I think we'll talk a little bit more about what those tracks are later, is that we reach out to the program offices, and the program offices are actually the ones that are throwing money in the game to sponsor these tracks. And because they're the ones who are asking these problems to be solved, one, they're not only we're not only bringing real Navy problems to the people that are trying to solve them, but these people who are having these, hackers come in for this weekend and kind of come up with those innovative ideas, really come up with all these really cool ideas that the program offices then take further, working with the people that were solving the problems or with other contractors. But, those new innovative ideas that kind of keep coming up from one Hack the Machine to the next have really benefited the programs. And I think that's why they keep coming back to the table year after year.
That's fantastic.
Can I down on that a moment? That's a great, that's a great point, Commander Anderson. I think I would probably kind of add on to that there's a certain community of people that read Fed Biz Ops and see what the Navy's opportunities are, right? But then what I've realized over the years is there's a whole generation of people that have kind of, what's the Navy got, like 2 or 3 different NCIS shows where the Navy's on TV. There's a whole generation of people that have played military kind of style video games for a generation now. So almost everybody involved in tech has some peripheral exposure to the Navy and to military problems. But just because of our social demographics in this country, they may not actually know a single person who's actually in the military. Right. And so their version of the military is what they've seen on TV and a video game they've played, but they think the actual military is probably just push-ups and short haircuts. And they don't realize that, although I'm sure Kade is very good at push-ups and has short haircuts.
I try.
But what they don't realize is that we have fascinatingly cool tech problems. And just going back to one of those early Hack the Machine events, matter of fact, the one we ran at Boston on the campus at MIT, we had a PhD student come up to us, and he had a vision for how he was going to, he was getting his PhD in augmented reality design. And so he had a vision of a game he was going to create. And then we had a track that year centered around augmented reality. And he came out after the fact. He was like, he hadn't even thought through the whole field of possibilities that he could have more impactful contribution than just helping somebody play a game. That there were all sorts of real games and real challenges where augmented reality could have a role in helping us do humanitarian aid and disaster relief and virtual collaboration for telemedicine and all these other things. And secondly, he didn't know how much money the government had. And that's something that we were just talking to the Small Business Office about. I mean, there's one number I'd love to throw out, and then we'll pitch over to somebody else, but like the single largest venture capital fund ever raised in the United States was the Sequoia Mega Fund at like $7 or $8 billion. And that was given out to venture capital portfolio companies over the course of like 7 or 8 years. The Navy and Marine Corps give away $15 billion per year to small business. So that's twice as large as the largest venture capital fund ever, and we give it away every year. And it's just a different business model, and so you got to know how to work it. And so Hack the Machine is a great front door for people to come meet Commander Anderson, who can say, hey, you need to talk to the program manager that runs autonomous vehicles and, et cetera, and help people get that first leg up on how to do network development, to work on problems of significance, and have a potential funding source for their innovative idea that doesn't, take equity dilution like a VC would.
That's fantastic. I really love the conversation, both every direction. We love the Blue Angels analogy. I don't know if you just created that today, but Anderson said it again. People online are talking about it. Maybe that's one of your new taglines.
The Blue Angels for geeks, man. I love it.
There you go. So I'm gonna go over to Kade. Kade, you won Hack the Machine 2 years ago, or your team did. What inspired you to even apply to be a part of Hack the Machine?
Yeah, so I'm part of the cybersecurity team, and we compete in a wide variety of competitions every year, such as Seesaw, which is hosted by NYU, or Pico CTF's a good one for practice, and Hack the Machine's one of it's my personally favorite competition every year because of it's in an interesting location every time, and there's just a great set of challenges to go after. There's 3 different tracks. There's maritime cybersecurity. I think this year there's something with additive manufacturing and 3D printing as an entire track. And then there's also machine learning and data science. And honestly, I wish I could spend just a whole month working on each one of those problem sets because each one of them fascinate me in a different way. So 2 years ago when my team went there, we take a team every year. We've for the last several. And we were in New York City working on the maritime security track because that's more of our focus. But they had a little side event set up with a bunch of 3D printers, and we're just trying to pen test them and see, if we wanted to use these on ships for a real application to create replacement parts, is there something that adversaries could do to them? And I don't know if I'd say I won it per se, but the intro challenge, supposed to be the gimme 5 points, just to get the ball rolling, was can you compromise the structural integrity of this part that you would put into a jet or whatever? And the simple way you could go about it was you would just open it up in modeling software and subtract out some piece of the part, just make an empty cavity in it and then show the file, and that would be all you would need to get the points. Yeah. But I had previous experience in high school actually working with 3D printers, which coming from a rural Pennsylvania, I was really lucky that we had 3D printers. So I had been familiar with kind of the kill chain or the tool process for how do we get from an idea in your head to a physical part in front of you. So I looked at it and thought, well, it'd be very hard to try to tackle the design software where you actually make the part and create some type of vulnerability in there, because what that program outputs every time is just a set of points in space that a printer could trace out. So instead I thought, well, there's probably something a lot easier in this middle file called a G-code file, which is what you actually put on the printer. So I just looked up on Stack Overflow, how do I cut out all the text between a set of comments, and adapted it for how do I modify this G-code file to cut out all of the infill, which is the internal reinforcement of a part. So I did this and thought, okay, well, this seems like the way a rational person would go about doing this. And when I presented my solution, the people running the event for the 3D printer pen testing track were kind of astonished or taken back of, wait, this isn't something that we were expecting whatsoever. So, that was a really cool opportunity because I was able to leverage my background and previous experience, and not necessarily cybersecurity, but just something I had done for fun in high school, and apply that to a real Navy mission. And then it's how that's benefited me personally, just the 3D printer aspect. I've had opportunities to talk to the CNO about it. It's been a great, it's a good conversation piece, but it's also just, it highlights what midshipmen can do and how, you don't have to have a master's or a PhD yet to start contributing or getting interested in the field. As for the overall maritime security track, the entire team had a great time while we were there, working on things like binary exploitation or using software-defined radios to trick ships into believing that they're seeing things they're really not. One of the funniest things was walking over to the Fathom 5, one of the test beds, and seeing the AIS screen that I would see on a yard patrol craft from, my navigation classes. And then there's 15 different man overboard warnings and a ship going 200 knots through the New York harbor. And I'm like, well, that's pretty goofy to see. And I don't know if I'd believe there's a 300 knot ship, going through the harbor, but it really starts to, as someone who's going to be commissioning as a naval officer soon, being aware of those types of vulnerabilities in the systems we rely on is very important, because it can have very real, very tangible impacts on, can this data be manipulated for ships to crash into each other, for example. So I really find Hack the Machines a very critical and valuable part of the community, especially for trying to get into cybersecurity.
That's fantastic. So you're saying that ship going 300 knots is not a classic YP cruise? That's
you'd have to soup it up a lot.
So I love what you said about something fun I did at high school to solve problems in the Navy. Like it's not like you spent all this time on it. It was like, I like doing this. It's fun. I'm going to use it to solve a problem. And that's in my assumption of what Zac explained and Arthur talked about. That's what it's all about. That's what this event is all about, is people that enjoy doing this and they want to solve these problems. And someone has asked, what are the tracks this year? We'll get into what those are. Kade talked a little bit about maritime, cyber, data science, heavy metal, some machine 3D printing kind of stuff. But before we go there, I want to talk to our silent guest here, Candy Carr. As the innovation officer out at NAVSEA out in Point Mugu, and the Tech Bridge, co-Tech Bridge director for the Ventura Tech Bridge for Naval X, what excites you about having 3 teams participate this year?
I mean, like I said, we're just really super excited for this event and that we're able to support 3 teams participating, and ultimately just looking forward to seeing the results.
Yeah, and what teams do you have that are participating, and what tracks are they doing?
Yeah, so we're sending, like I said, we're sending 3 teams to participate. One of the teams is going to be track 1, the Maritime Cyber. That team's from our Cyber Test and Evaluation branch. The other 2 teams are going to be participating in track 2, the Data Science. One of them is coming from our Digital Innovations Accelerations team. And the other one has engineers from several departments within our Research and Development group. And they're calling themselves the China Lake Nautical Club, with CLINIC as their short acronym.
Fantastic. That's awesome. Go ahead, Zac.
Yeah, I want to provide a little bit of the back end to things that Kade and Candy just talked about. So it's one thing to have a guy like Kade who had insights or education from another domain, right? So things he did in high school, he's now got a little bit of engineering under his belt from the Naval Academy, and he's able to kind of combine all that to help the Navy see a problem from a different angle. That happens a lot. I don't think when you look at naval innovation over time, a shortage of ideation isn't the problem. It's taking ideas all the way through to execution. So just on the back side of that, what we did with Kade's example, and there was another guy at Hack the Machine New York who actually got a printer on fire. And so we were able to take a couple, ideas, and then we presented those to a panel of flag officers who was engaged. So this has senior level engagement too. So we presented to Ms. Youngs Liu, who owns all of the Navy Marine Corps Internet program, to now Admiral Rothenhouse, who owned the program for all shipboard networks, to Admiral Selby, who was the chief engineer of the Navy, and to some of the lead cybersecurity guys at NAVSEA, and kind of collectively, they looked at how much harm could be caused by having these printers on the network. And the outcome of that, just less than a year later, is a policy for connecting printers to the network that puts them in their own domain, and some technology exploration that we're going to have back at the game this year to pen test the boundary we're putting around them. So there's this how insight drives innovation that I think is really important. And then the thing that Candy said that really inspired me was government civilians have a hard job of not only engaging the tech community, like Lieutenant Commander Anderson said, but also having the personal professional knowledge to be able to evaluate the quality of the bids and proposals that are coming in. And so one of the ways we've seen Hack the Machine have kind of a meta purpose is that one of the sponsors for the data science track had a great team of government civilians in their program office who knew that machine learning could be impactful for the decision support tools that they built, who hadn't ever had to evaluate data science before, but that was exactly their job when they got bids and proposals in. And so in kind of a low risk way that we made them the judges and had kind of a 6 months of training and evaluation for them, leading up to them having to make a decision about what the best data science solution was, really gave them workforce training about how to evaluate a data science submission that makes them better positioned to make good to choose the right technologies for the bids and proposals that they have for real problems. So anytime we can connect, hack the machine games, there's always a back end, there's always a meta purpose about something real that the Navy's doing. So it's not, like we said earlier, innovation theater. It's insights to impact.
That's incredible. And I want to talk a little bit about some more about those Hack the Machine games. But first, we've got a couple questions here. This one's kind of directed to Kade and Arthur. They start with shortening the kill chain from innovation to programs of record. When describing bids for BAA, how can we describe the problem set instead of telling tech how to build a solution? Kind of curious on what your guys' thoughts are there.
I'll let you handle that one, Arthur.
So working with the programs of record, I think that there's a lot of props. So one of the tracks that we have this year is advanced manufacturing, and advanced manufacturing is a complicated and exciting technology area, but we have a lot of history with how to build things. I don't know if you're familiar with the incident with the thresher. The thresher, for those who aren't familiar with the audience, was the case of a welded pipe that didn't work or wasn't welded correctly. I don't think they actually used welding; they used a different process. But the fact that weld failed actually resulted in the loss of a submarine on a lot of different people. So when additive manufacturing, so we've developed a lot of processes over the years to make sure that when we build these things, and each and every part that's critical to the safety of the systems and the design are of the quality that our systems will work and not kill people, or kill people if that's their job, right? Because we are the military. So as we go forward with the idea of advanced manufacturing and using these 3D printed parts, how do we make sure that the quality of these 3D parts is of sufficient, quality to make sure that these things work? And I think that one of the things that we're doing in this Hack the Machine is looking at a lot of different people and a lot of different competitors that are able to produce a part for us that's going to be used on a real Navy system, and looking at those techniques that they use and the solutions and the methods that they use in order to make sure the quality is the part is of sufficient quality that we need, I think will be really helpful for us solving that problem as we move forward.
Now Mohawk Matt is on mute.
Yeah, I know.
You think I didn't do this every day or something? Hey, that shows. I mean, I have 5 live events or 2 live events and 3 podcasts a day, and I still put myself on mute. So, actually, this question is kind of for Kade in the role related to TechBridge. How do we bridge with warfighters and program managers from a tech perspective? And I think you're kind of working a problem right now with a tech scouting thing that you're kind of doing an example of that.
Right. So, I mean, we're at the early stages. WG just recently joined in with the tech bridges, so it's really exciting. Our first, we have a command challenge that we put out, and it's about scanning for marine mammals right prior to test. And this is not a new problem. It's not. It's a worldwide problem, and it's been going on for quite some time. But we're going to leverage the tech bridges and external entities through what we call a tech scan, and we're just getting out there to see, okay, what technology does everybody have? What's already been done? How close are we to having something that meets the requirements? But the whole idea is, rather than each of us running off and doing our separate efforts and duplicating efforts or reinventing the wheel, we're all going to work together. So, we've already got ties in with the Northwest, the Northeast, London, NOAA, you name it, as well as, we'll be working with possibly putting stuff out to universities. So it's all, the tech bridge is all about tying everybody tying as many people into the picture and getting us to work as one Navy to solve a problem.
That's fantastic. And I'm going to add on to that a little bit because it answers the earlier question as well from Zach Keller, is Naval X is actually working. And don't worry, guys, I know this is about Hack the Machine. I'm not taking away. But But no, Naval X is working a new thing right now, kind of the Naval X Navigator program type thing, where we have teammates that work like Sherpas that kind of help guide industry through the process of how to do the business with the government, what they need to do to set up the deal, that kind of thing. So there are other ways that we're working besides Hack the Machine to help get industry partners access to warfighter problems and challenges. Hack the Machine is one of those examples, and it's a very well established example. So Zach, go ahead. You're going to talk. I can tell.
No, I was totally agreeing. You know, there's get people in the door. This is a 1 week kind of event for Hack the Machine, and then there's a wow, that was great. Then what? I think the kind of the establishment of the Tech Bridge program, what you're doing at Naval X, is a great way to say, okay, cool, you're competing from Seattle. I'm sure you know 10 different tech accelerators on the commercial side there. Let me introduce you to the tech accelerator in Pac Northwest, so that you do have that Sherpa. So that's frankly been, I think, something that's been missing. And it's why you know we run the Small Business Innovative Research SBIR program, but you see the same names. You don't see nearly as many kind of logo storm on innovative companies coming into that program as we might like. And I think it's because there's got to be a continuum. There's do something fun and exciting that's real, like Hack the Machine. But then the next level of real is, okay, here's what you got to do to actually go out and not win. I think we're giving away like $30,000 a track this year, right? Now here's how you go after 300,000 and 3 million, 30 million, and 300 million, all of which are in band for people that are working with the Navy. But people need to figure out where that first rung of the ladder is, and so I love the continuum.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Who brought a child to the Hack the Machine conversation today?
That would be my cat.
Oh, I mean, hey, start them. We take everyone. There's no discrimination. Anybody can participate, even animals. So I'm going to come to you in a second, Arthur, kind of about some of the stuff you guys have this year, without, of course, giving away too much to Candy and her teams. We don't want to be cheating over there. Well, and we lost Arthur again, so hopefully he comes back. But Kate, over to you. What is why do you think this, as a future naval officer, you kind of are the future of the Navy? You are the future of the Navy. Not kind of, you are. As long as you don't get kicked out. Why do you think Hack the Machine is something valuable to keep going forward?
I think it's just a great atmosphere, and it brings together a great community. Like the cybersecurity team from Navy goes, and then there'll be people from West Point and Coast Guard and the Air Force Academy. They'll all come in, and to see them outside of our yearly NSA cyber exercise and work together.
Hey, Brad.
Test
bed. Is there another network I can get on? This network is really bad.
Or how do we go against these 3D printers? Being able to work together with our peers from the other service academies is great, because we'll likely be seeing each other when we go into cryptography and cyber warfare engineering for the Navy in the future. That's why I love the event. So you get to meet all the other military people, but then there's also people that aren't affiliated with the military that you can kind of poke their brains on. What's your perspective on how to go about this, or what techniques do you use that I haven't seen before?
That's fantastic. Zach, does that get you excited hearing from young buck right in the academy, ready to go?
100%. You know, I mean, I think that year in New York, we had, as Arthur pointed, we had almost 1,000 people register for that event, and in what I loved about that particular event, it was in the old Brooklyn Navy Yard. And if you're a tech company starting up in the New York area, I highly recommend you check out the Navy Yard, because it's the old Brooklyn Navy Yard has been repurposed as a hardware focused tech innovations. And it was so fun to bring the Navy back to our old shipyard assembly building, and with a high tech purpose. And then we had another 100 and something people competing in that, right? We had cyber penetration testers from NYU and from a lot of the financial services pen test companies there, and so you get this great like cross mingling of skills and that's what gets me excited, is the opportunity to kind of have an all hands on deck effort to solve problems that are fun, but like we keep going back to, problems that are serious. And you know, when you think about it, and I know Candy probably sees this a lot, I'll be curious about her perspective, but there is an abundance of technical talent in this country right now that's directed at what I think are trivial problems. And so while it's technically really cool how to figure out how to build a drone that can deliver deodorant like right in time, it's not actually that meaningful. And so I think there's a use case for people figuring out like meaningful problems and having an opportunity to work on them. And certainly the Navy doesn't have a lockdown on all those meaningful problems, but we have some of them. And Hack the Machine is a good opportunity to see those. And I don't know, Candy, as you engage from the Tech Bridge, do you see people like searching for a bit more than the next social media app?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's really part of our purpose, right? Looking to find uses for things that are existing, but also addressing, having meaningful problems and taking them, not just, one of the things that I saw at WD just in how we fund certain innovation events, and that I'm really excited to be a part of the Tech Bridge, is, people come up with some really cool ideas. We give them some funding to go explore it. But how many of those go to that next step that you're talking about? And the Tech Bridge really leverages that opportunity, right? Is, okay, we've started here. Let's see what everybody's doing. Let's kind of collaborate. And it gives it a much larger chance of succeeding and coming into something meaningful, if that makes sense.
Yeah, just kind of to jump in there, Zach, about the meaningful problems. That's really what kind of drew me to the Naval Academy, and then what excites me the most about Hack the Machine and doing cryptology or cyber warfare engineering is being able to take what I've learned and what I'm really passionate about and go tackle the hardest challenges that have the most meaning, because I don't want to work 8 hours a day and say, I learned how to, or I figured out how to sell a few more ads on, this website. I want to be able to go home and think that, I made a tangible impact in the world, and, this is going to help save lives or save a large amount of money. And, that people will be able to, it'll have a change that'll last for a long time rather than just something that's semi-transient.
Now that hits me right here, Matt. That's what I like to hear.
That's fantastic. So, hey, Candy, do you guys have a link to the Marine Mammal Challenge? Is that published yet?
It is not published yet. We're looking to, it's going to publish, I believe, this week.
Okay.
FathomWorks is working on the website, and you'll be one of the first to know.
That sounds great. We got a few people asking. So Lieutenant Commander Arthur Anderson, are you still with us?
I'm back, and I think we have a better connection now, so it's working great.
Fantastic. So this year, we've got Track 1, Maritime Cyber, Track 2, Data Science, Track 3, Heavy Metal. What can you give us a little teaser to some things that we can expect? Of course, without giving Candy any insider information for her team.
I've got my notepad ready.
So I can walk through the tracks a little bit. So the website does a good explanation, and I think that one of the things that I tried to figure out before Hack the Machine is like, what are the problems? Because on other events that I've done, they kind of give you all the problem in advance, you get to work it. But this Hack the Machine, I think it's really exciting because you do all the work during the weekend. You get presented the problem and you get to solve it. So the first one is obviously the cybersecurity tracks. So in the cybersecurity tracks, we actually give them a virtual something. I won't give it away what it is. It could be a virtual ship or a virtual helicopter. And while it's not the whole helicopter, it's all the digital pieces and processing stacks that are available to that. And then we make those enclaves available to the different teams to see how much they can break into it, find problems with it, how much, if they can find bugs with the systems. And a lot of times the hackers will find things and problems with the systems that we didn't even know existed, let alone the ones that we're trying to grade them on. So that's very exciting. With the heavy metal, we're going to ask them to build a part that we're going to actually use on a ship. So it's a real part. So we've gotten this from Navy ship drawings. The part will be revealed when it comes time to do the events. And we're going to ask them to work with our processing tools and our tool chain to kind of produce that drawing and that piece, so that and the higher quality of the piece and the actual piece will determine how well they're able to do. And then on the last piece, on the data science piece, we're going to do a problem related to COVID. So I'm not going to talk too much into that or get into the details, but the idea is to kind of use tool chains and data science to be able to methods to efficiently solve a problem.
Oh, that's fantastic. Sorry, Naval X community. I tried to get you insight, but they're just not giving them away this year. So, but no, I think that's really exciting. And I know Naval X, we're really excited because while it is all virtual, everyone that sees this, you'll see it's actually at the Naval X base this year. Zac, I think you'll be here, right?
Yep, flying down tomorrow, and I think some of the team's there, and we'll be setting up over the weekend. It'll be fun.
Yep. I'm glad I'm not setting up over the weekend. I saw your agenda. It's a lot of
it's set up.
There's a lot of moving parts that go into an event like this from your guys' side, from the Navy side, and it's exciting to see it all kind of coming together. So from Naval X perspective, I'll be doing multiple lives during the event, maybe give an inside look into what some of the teams are doing, and some really exciting stuff. So, Kade, are you participating this year or are you not?
Yeah, I'm excited. Really hoping we get the chance to come down in person next Friday. We're going to be telecommuting Thursday, definitely, I think, depending on how things are going here at the Academy. But I'm really excited to give it another shot this year and see what they have to offer.
That's awesome. And I can't remember if you mentioned it, the project that you did win with and that you won before, did anything ever happen to that?
I received a letter of commendation from Admiral Selby, who's the Navy's chief engineer, and that was a really cool experience. I don't know exactly where they took what I wrote up and filed it into some cabinet somewhere in a dark basement, but I think Zac kind of alluded that it went into they presented it to senior leadership and as part of a report on here's the potential vulnerabilities or things we really need to consider if we're going to try to use this.
Let me be crystal clear on that. It did not go in a report, and it did not go in a cabinet. So everything that we learned at New York last year actually went into the architecture design for what the Navy is calling the digital manufacturing environment, the DME, and it is the architecture that 3D printers are actually going to be deployed into shipyards and on ships. So we actually went out and presented that back to the Navy as a problem with a solution, and then the Navy has funded the solution. So it's not in a cabinet, and it will be on a shipyard this year, and it will be, let's cross our fingers, hopefully on board an aircraft carrier by the end of the year or the very beginning of FY22, also funded. So no drawer, you got an aircraft carrier.
That's awesome.
That's kind of huge to know. Yeah, just like that. That's incredible that to know that I was able to take what I've learned at the Academy, and it's not just, I need a bachelor's degree to be an officer, but I can use what I'm learning in the classroom to impact real decisions in the Navy has been incredible and incredibly rewarding. So I'm really thankful that Hack the Machine exists, and we get to go.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Hey, Matt, can I come on one other thing that Arthur's done this year?
Yeah,
that is behind the scenes, but it's so important. I think anybody who's dealt at all with the government has just been, just sworn by the red tape. And one of the things that it's been so nice working with Commander Anderson on is that he's been willing to take up the mantle for using the authority that Congress has given the Navy, but not necessarily implement the regulations around. So Arthur has been the spearhead, along with some of the other young leaders at NAVSEA, to actually take the legal authority to run a technology prize competition and push that out. So Hack the Machine is run under a law that was changed in 2017 that allows the government to use appropriated funds for prize money. And the other thing that it allows you to do is if somebody wins a prize at one of these competitions, it counts as the fair and open competition to win a contract. And so while it's not a completely done deal yet, we had one of the branch head contracting officers from NAVSEA on a podcast specifically about Track 3, where this year we should have go all the way from crowdsourcing to a contract for the award winner, so that if you win Track 3 this year, you not only get the prize money, you actually get a contract to be the Navy supplier for that part.
Wow.
Wow.
On that note, who can apply to run or register for this? Like create a team? Who can send a team?
So that's
Arthur, you help me with the rules and conditions. Who can apply, Arthur?
Anybody is allowed to apply for this. So all the things, we made sure that it's 100%, distribution A, releasable to the public. So anyone, we have people from foreign navies, we have people from foreign countries, we have members from the public. So and you don't need a background in computer science to join either. A lot of times we get diverse opinions from people who are, I think even says on the website, you could be a poet, right? And join a Hack the Machine team. So you won't be competing by yourself. You'll be competing on a team. You can either come with a team, or you can come by yourself, and we'll work with other people to put you on a team. So it's not only just a competition, it's also an opportunity for people to come and learn about the problems and learn how to solve the problems from other folks on your team. So doesn't matter what your background is. If you're interested in applying, please do.
That's fantastic.
URL there. It's HacktheMachine.ai, but if you just Google Hack the Machine, it's the top 5 to 10 links. So,
oh, look at that! I see. I can't even do that right. Well, that's fantastic. And Zach, when is Hack the Machine this year?
We kick off the live stream kicks off on March 23rd, so next Tuesday. But register now. The Slack channels are being fired up. We're starting to do some of the team building. Some of the data drops will come maybe a little bit before the live stream kickoff. So basically get registered now, start getting teamed up, and join the conversation.
Yeah. So one of the great things I think Zach and his team has put together is, normally this is a live event where we have a lot of people coming in an area, and since we can't do that due to COVID and the pandemic that's going on, I think Zach and his team has really put together a great idea of this live broadcast. So every day between 11 and 1, and maybe some other times, we'll be doing full production live broadcast, which is hosted right here at Naval X. And I think that's really going to, in the absence of everyone being together, help bring together the community of people that are going to be participating in this event.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and I'll have my crazy hair walking around with my little GoPro. So,
we've had the benefit. I will say we've had the benefit now. All of us have had the benefit or the challenge of going to virtual events for a year. So we've tried to take everything that was good from about 10 different virtual events and squeeze it into the way we're running Hack the Machine. So it's not the same as all being in New York, but I am pretty excited about it. So I think there's a great reason just to check it out, because I think the format for doing something virtual this year is pretty cool. Apart from the fact that the challenges are inspiring this year.
How do people watch if they're not participating? Are you guys going through YouTube, or what's the plan there?
Yeah, that's a great point. So when people register, they're going to get a login account for the platform. And so you'll log into the platform. And so the platform will host the data, the rules, the comms, and the, very similar to this, the live stream links.
Fantastic. So what else should people know about Hack the Machine in the past? Now, this is your chance to say anything else you guys want to.
I'll do the past. We'll let Arthur do, now, and Candy and Kade do next. But the past is that we have worked very hard to break the mold of what it means to engage the public. I'm always inspired by the idea that it wasn't NASA that went to the moon. It was NASA and all of those other people that actually built the rockets and the spacesuits, right? It was an amazing collaboration between government and industry. And as we think about national security problems that we face in the coming decades, it's that sort of like team-focused solution we need. And I think Hack the Machine is a great step that the Navy has been taking to build teams like that again.
Fantastic. And going to present. Anything left from you, Arthur?
Yeah, so I think that this Hack the Machine event is great, and I think it really highlights a lot of the really cool things that we deal with in the Navy. You know, it's not just running around and doing push-ups. There's a wide variety of very cool problems and interesting work that can be done in the Navy. And if you aren't normally or typically exposed to a lot of the problems, this is a real good opportunity for you to learn about those things and get involved in the community and get involved in the team that we're going to fulfill the Navy's mission. So.
Well, I think that's a great pass over to Kade and kind of what you guys do with the tech bridges.
Like I said, you know, I'm new to all of this, and I'm loving everything that I'm hearing here. This is exactly the direction that we want to go to. So, like, yeah, echoing Zac, I mean, you guys have established a great event that I'm really excited to learn more about and participate. Like, you know, watch our teams participate, but also just see that interaction and build that relationship. And then with the tech bridges, you know, we're looking to see more events like this and more activity where, you know, this is just the norm instead of being just an event, or, you know what I mean? It's this is where we want to strive in the future, for it to be just the normal. We work together with industry to create meaningful solutions.
Fantastic. And Kade, over to you, the man of the future.
Yeah. So what Zac said really got me thinking, because about how NASA didn't get to the moon on their own. And when I think about how I'll be commissioning in a year or so into, you know, the Navy to work on these types of challenges, I think that for every one of me, there's 5 or 6 people around the world that are training just as hard to make sure I don't succeed, that are trying to, you know, cause the 3D printers on our ships to catch on fire. And you know, so I study artificial intelligence, trying to learn all these different things of how can I be more effective. But at the end of the day, I can't do it alone. And that's why I think it's so critical to have events like Hack the Machine, where we can bring together not only people from the military who want to innovate in technology, but also rebuild and continue to grow those connections with industry, so that we have a, you know, whole united, you know, approach to let's solve these very hard challenges and make some really interesting solutions.
Boom, right there. That's fantastic. So, Kade, Kade, Arthur, Zac, thanks for joining today.
Yeah,
Thanks so
absolutely.
much for hosting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. And everyone else, tune in. Hack the Machine's happening next week. If you haven't registered, go register. Google Hack the Machine, because I can't put the right link on the screen. You'll find it. Register whether you join a team or whether you just watch. Stay tuned with Naval X. We're partnering with them and sharing some more about it all through next week as well. Otherwise, thanks for the great conversation. Kade, Arthur, Zac, stick around. Everyone else, have a great day. We'll see you.